Hello everyone, welcome back to OC Recovery's YouTube channel. Before I go any further, you could please subscribe, like this video. It really helps with the algorithm and get this topic out there. I'm going to talk about ROCD, and since ROCD tends to be a really popular topic, the webinars, all the one-to-one sessions, it's a lot. There's a lot of people out there suffering with ROCD. There's a lot of people out there suffering with ROCD that don't even know they have ROCD. So maybe you know someone who you think might be struggling with relationship OCD, and just send this video out. So there's a couple things I want to talk about today. We have webinars maybe once every month or so on ROCD. They tend to be really big webinars. A lot of people go, like I said, because there's a lot of irrational beliefs surrounding relationships. So what I want to talk about first is compulsions and avoidance behaviors. And I'm going to title this video, "Is this the reason why you're still stuck with ROCD?" I can't cover everything because it would be probably a 10-part series, but I want to cover some of the broad topics and then end with the main thing when it comes to unconditional life and other acceptance. So let's break down some of the compulsions and avoidance behaviors that ROCD people tend to do. So deleting social media. If you are absolutely convinced that you're only supposed to be attracted to the person that you're with, this is going to really turn up the heat in the room. So we see this a lot. People will delete social media, or they'll tell themselves they can never look at someone else again in an attractive light. You can prefer to only be attracted to the person that you're with, but if you demand and you say, "I must not think anyone else is attractive, I must not check anyone else out," those symptoms, the way the urges are going to be completely, you're going to throw gasoline on the fire, because OCD knows that you're trying to run from those symptoms. And when you do that, it really hikes up those sensations. Number two is alcohol. Now, I always have to preface this and say that we're not talking about alcoholism or people that struggle with that or addiction. We're talking about how what happens is in these cases, real event or false memory can kind of slip in here. So what people will do is they'll say, "I'm never going to drink alcohol again. If I drink alcohol again, what happens if I cheat and I never forget?" So now we have the cheating part in there as well. Most people are, now let me just say this, cheating is not a healthy behavior, but what we do is when someone cheats, we deify them and say they're horrible people. No, they're just a person who cheated, who probably has a bunch of other behaviors you may think are good or bad. But it's not that they're incredibly terrible people. That's really important to break down. So you don't have to avoid drinking alcohol, just how you don't have to avoid drinking caffeine if you're afraid it's going to spike up your anxiety symptoms. Usually the fear of what will happen if you drink alcohol socially, or what will happen if you consume consume caffeine, exacerbates that sensation of, "Oh my gosh, there's no way I can do this. If I do this, my life will be over." So that's really important to cover. Number three is confession. This is probably one of the number one sneakiest ways that ROCD sufferers will perform compulsive/reassurance behaviors or avoidance behaviors. If the person you're with doesn't understand OCD, which more than likely, how would they understand OCD if they don't have OCD, or they've been, surrounded by it, or, even know that you have OCD. If you ask them, "Are you sure you love me?" more than likely, they're going to say yes. But that's not because they're maliciously trying to keep you stuck. It's because they don't understand OCD. So that's important to cover as well. So deleting social media needs a balance. There's nothing wrong with thinking other people are attractive. It's an irrational belief that societies hold, especially when you're in really religious backgrounds. So there's different factors on where you live where this might stick a little bit harder than other places. Again, you don't have to stop drinking alcohol. Take the chance, drink alcohol socially. Again, we're not talking about people who struggle with alcoholism. And then confession. Stopping seeking confession or performing confession / stop seeking reassurance has to come from you. It can't come from anyone else. So the second thing I want to talk about is if you've only been moving with uncertainty and thoughts and it's still really latched, I'm going to talk about more than likely the beliefs on why it's still latched. So those beliefs might be something like, "What if I lose my relationship? My entire life will be ruined." So I talk about this a lot. With ROCD and other types of themes as well, you put your entire self-worth on your relationship in a codependent type of manner. So what happens is, because the fear of losing the relationship, meaning your life would be over, is so all-consuming because the shoulds and demands are the way you view your relationship, it's going to kind of heighten that fear a lot. Not just a little bit, a lot. So it's really important to realize if you've been moving with uncertainty and you've been telling yourself that, oh, my relationship is not a big deal, but you're really not going towards your worst case scenario, whether that be divorce or your partner cheating on you, whatever your core fear may be, usually with unconditional acceptance, that will need to be addressed in some way or another. So that's important. So I want to go back to talking about cheating again, because this is a big one where the alcohol is involved, and then the fear of the other person cheating. If your worst case scenario is the fear of the other person cheating, you have no control over that at all. You have no control whether the person you're with cheats on you. None. Zero. You think you can gain certainty by kind of limiting their behaviors and checking their phone. I promise you, if they want to cheat on you, they're going to cheat on you. That's really scary for people to hear, but that's something that someone usually needs to work on. And if they do cheat on you, they're not terrible or bad people. They're just a person who did an act you deem bad. But if you go and read The Myth of Self-Esteem, which is one of the books on the reading list, Albert Ellis talks about, I can't remember where it is. Where's the tribe? Polynesia. It's on one of the islands by Thailand. But they practice all sorts of premarital sex, sex houses, and all these other things. So they don't view cheating as bad. That means that cheating can't be bad. Inherently. I don't think cheating is a good behavior. I think it leads to, unhealthy lifestyle factors and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean the behavior is inherently bad. Most people would agree that it is bad, but you can go to other cultures where they don't think it's bad. So it's important to cover that. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in this kind of just quick summary, and again, I can go into details about all these. So if you have questions down below on particular topics like this, feel free to ask, because it is important to go into each one of these. So let's talk about unconditional life acceptance and unconditional other acceptance. So unconditional other acceptance goes into what I was just talking about the cheating, or if your person has flaws, the person you're with has a bunch of flaws. That's what people do. They go on social media because they believe their relationship should be perfect. They post all these pictures on their social media to make everything look like it's amazing. The photos, the weddings, them kissing, all these really cute quotes. But then their OCD is going crazy because your OCD knows you're looking for perfection in your relationship, and perfection doesn't exist. So it's important to break that down, that nobody is going to have 100% of the traits that we want at all times. My wife and I both have qualities at times that we probably don't enjoy about each other when we're trying to do work, and maybe the other person is asking us a question or certain things. That is just life. That's how life is. Anyone else that's telling you that you should be attracted to your partner 24/7 is just giving you really poor advice, because it's not real, and it's a problem. So when I see it being a big problem with ROCD. Unconditional life acceptance, realizing that your relationship can be important. You could really prefer for your relationship to be a certain way, but if you put your entire merit on your relationship and anything goes astray, you tank into all sorts of unhealthy emotional consequences, extreme anger, extreme depression, super heightened anxiety. We see this with sports players. You're not a football player. You're just a dude who throws a football. You throw a little leather thing, and you might make $50 million. But when that ends, if you attach your whole entire self-worth to your sport and then it tanks, your emotional state tanks. That's how psychology works. And I see it all the time with ROCD sufferers. So again, this doesn't mean you can't prefer, and it doesn't mean, because remember, acceptance doesn't mean agreement. I always recommend people to watch Kirsty's video on the YouTube channel from 6 months to a year ago. It's amazing. If you go back to the playlist and acceptance, it will be in there. So that's just a little recap about ROCD. Let me know what you think. Let me know if these are some of the things you're struggling with. And then I can answer some questions in the comments down below. Like I said, please subscribe, like the video. Really helps with getting the knowledge out there, helping people. There's a lot of people out there who have ROCD, whether it's chronically latched or not, and they don't even know they have it. Because we use other terminology such as codependent and stuff like that, but that person could really actually have severe ROCD, and they're just not getting the help they need. So please share this video. Anyone you know, family members, thank you so much, and have a great day.